Hello, once again, everybody. I'm Eric J. Chambers, and welcome to the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. We're coming to you from Hollywood, California, for another episode of the Cut Chronicles Live. We have a fantastic program in store for you this evening, as we're going to be celebrating Valentine, which, of course, is tomorrow. But we have some outstanding guests who are going to talk about marriage and relationships and how you can enrich yours. And those of us who perhaps are not in relationships yet, they'll give some advice on how we can prepare ourselves for that time when it comes. What we're going to do is open up right now and let you get a chance to meet our panelists today, coming to us from Palm Springs, California. Of course, many of us have heard his music over the years, including the one of my favorite songs, which is entitled "Dedicated to You," and his wife did a song called "God's Woman," and the list goes on and on. Phil Nicholas. Phil, good evening, my friend.
How you doing, Dr. Chambers?
I'm doing good and getting more better now that my buddy is here. It's good to see you.
Amen.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. My wife, she didn't make it back. We're planning for Valentine's Day to go on a trip, and so she's shopping and getting stuff together. So I figured I'd represent us both today.
Okay, and then also we have, in addition to you, we have one of the cousins is having a little bit of a difficulty, but we're going to bring on cousin Carrie so she can say hello to the people.
Hello, family. God bless you all. Love you. Thanks for tuning in. It's
All right,
always a blessing.
and you're coming in from Chicago, and we're going to be talking to you in just a little bit about your book.
Okay.
And then our other cousin, Jeanette, she popped up, but then again, she is having some kind of difficulties right now. And hopefully we'll be able to get her back up in just a minute. And that's usually, unfortunately, the way this works sometimes is that everything is working and then you go on the air. And then, unfortunately, one of the gremlins gets into the mix. But we're going to begin with you, Phil. Why don't you tell us, you and your wife have had an amazing career over the years. Tell us how Brenda and Phil Nicholas, how Nicholas came about, and how long you guys have been doing this.
Well, we actually Lord have mercy, we're from the Philadelphia area, Philadelphia and New Jersey. Brenda's from Jersey. She always says when I say Philly, she's New Jersey. So, but met in college, went to college at Drexel University in Philadelphia. And people always ask how we met. And I usually say in the shower, and everybody said, "Oh, Lord Jesus." Said, no, we had to clean it up and say what happened was Brenda was in a girl's dorm, and she would be singing real loud in the shower. And some of the girls that were in there, they'd be saying, "What in the world is Brenda? This Brenda girl just keeps singing, waking her up 6 o'clock in the morning to the top of her lungs." And they had like a community shower. So it was a small dormitory. So it would go all through the building. So one of the girls in the dorm said, "I'm going to take you somewhere where they'll sing you to death and we can get some rest around here." And so the girl brought Brenda to our gospel group, Nicholas. At that time, it was called Nicholas Carl Ensemble. And we brought, they brought Brenda, and she tried out, and we heard her voice, and as they say, the rest was history. She started singing with us. She started getting all the leads and everything. And then right after I got out of college, I was brought to, many of you may not remember, there was a preacher before T.D. Jakes. There was a preacher named E.V. Hill. Dr. Chambers, do you remember E.V. Hill?
Oh, without question. Oh yeah, I remember E.V. Hill and E.V. Hill Jr.
Yes, EV was like I always tell people, because you mention that now and people say, "Who's that?" And I said, "Well, just understand, he was the TD Jakes before Jakes. He was the TD Jakes back in the day." Hill could just preach. Ooh, that was a preaching man. So he was doing a summer program, and the guy who was heading up this program was called Operation Everything, and they were doing stuff all over the LA area. We were back in Philly, but Hill wanted a group that summer, a musical team, to do all the things that they were planning on doing for that, because their goal was to see, I think, 5,000 souls or 10,000 souls, and they were planning things like a March for Jesus parade. They did a big thing at the Shrine Auditorium. They did a track attack at Dodger Stadium. They were a Stand Up for Jesus parade in Watts. They just were doing this outreach, and so they wanted a musical team. So the guy young guy who was working with, he said, I'm gonna put together a team of the best undiscovered talent. So he grabbed a guy from Florida and a girl from Minnesota, another girl from Ohio, and he picked me to come from Philadelphia. But I told him, I said, man, you got to bring Brenda too. But they didn't want to have a couple or like that. They wanted the group to kind of just blend in together. So they brought me, and then I came out and was with Evie Hill and that thing for that summer after I got out of college. And then the group gelled so much, and it was called Spirit, that they wanted to keep it together. I said, yo, I got a girlfriend back. So by that time we and Brenda started going together. I said, a girlfriend back east. I got a group back there. I can't stay out here. So I went back, but as God would have it, LA wouldn't die. The Spirit group, the whole thing would not die in my spirit. And it was like God was saying, no, you're going to go back. And so I came back, and then Frank Wilson, who's a big time Motown producer.
I remember Frank. Frank was my friend. Frank and Bunny.
Frank produced, he was in Motown. Those you don't know, he produced Eddie Kendricks and a number of he was a Motown producer. So Frank was going to start producing us. And he said, Phil, just come back and help us record an album. You don't have to be in the group. When I got back there, and then as it so happened, the girl who was the lead singer from Minnesota left the group, got married real quick. I said, well, my girlfriend can sing. So they brought Brenda out. She tried out just to work on the record. And as it happened, then we decided to, we did some of the record. We went back to Philadelphia. And then the Lord said, I want you to go back to LA. So I married Brenda. We got engaged on Christmas, and on my birthday in February of 7. Well, it was a year. It was 57. Okay. February on my birthday, I got married. My mom didn't raise no dummy. I got married on my birthday, so I wouldn't forget my wedding anniversary. I think I outsmarted myself because now I ain't got no birthday. When the day comes along, it's just our anniversary. Yeah, my birthday's gone.
Backfired on you, huh?
It's gone. So we got married. We came out here, and as we.
How long have you guys been married now?
Man, this Saturday, it will be 45 years.
Wow.
45 years. This Saturday, the 18th of February. So
excellent.
Yeah, everybody said, you got married when you was 10, didn't you? And no, we didn't. No, we didn't. Because God's kept us. Brenda, she still looks good. Praise God. Still looks young and good. So
well, you both still look young. And so God has kept both of you guys, and you guys are a perfect example of black don't crack if you take care of it, right?
I hear you, Doc. I receive it. So anyway, basically the bottom line is we came back. And we came back to California with Dr. Evie Hill, and we joined the church. But one other just quick thing, the group, when we got out here, the group broke up. As soon as we got here, the group broke up. And as God would have it, some of the main people from our group came out to California, the main alto and the main tenor. So we have 4 of us out here. And then Nicholas started picking up all the dates from Spirit, that the Spirit had started a record and everything. We finished the record, and it became Nicholas. And that's how the whole thing happened.
So that's how you guys became Nicholas.
And got out here, yes. Came to California.
Phil, I first heard about you guys back in the 80s at St. Stephen's Church of God in Christ in San Diego. Bishop McKinney.
You were there?
Yeah.
I didn't know you would. Yes. Bishop, he's a good friend. Bishop used to have us come down there all the time.
I know it. That's how I first heard about you guys. And of course, you were always, when it comes to the couples conferences up at Mount Hermon, remember those?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, anytime this time of year would come around, you people, we would be playing our Nicholas music.
We did the church banquet. Bishop used to have us come a lot.
Absolutely.
That was a beautiful soul.
Well, that's how I first heard about you guys. What is it that has sustained you guys over the years as a couple in ministry, and of course, giving, the faith-based community an alternative with your love songs? You guys sing sacred love songs.
Yeah, when Eric, we first did that, man, a lot of the church, because folks said, Nicholas, they of the devil. They ain't saved. They singing love songs. They just of the devil. And then we said, well, wait a minute, where else but in the church does a man need to know how to love his wife, or a wife to love her? But you got to start talking about this stuff in church. And you got to remember, back in those days, people were preaching Jesus saved, sanctified. They wasn't talking about the whole man. So we had arrows, shooting at us saying we wasn't saved. We was
Oh
of
my
the
goodness.
devil and everything. But some preachers, we began to do this with a couple of preachers that really encouraged us. Dr. Miles Monroe,
Yep.
he said, "Man, Phil, don't stop this." In Dallas, Texas, come on, what's his name? Come on, man, the main guy, Dallas, major writer, author. His daughter is a big actress now.
Oh, Tony Evans.
Thank you. God,
Yeah, you talking about
that's those
yeah,
senior
Priscilla.
moments.
Priscilla
Yes.
Shirer.
Yes, Tony Evans said, "Man, no, don't stop." And then A.R. Bernard in New York, there's just a number of preachers said, "Don't stop." And I can tell you some names of some folk that was really on us about we were doing the wrong thing, but they said, "No, man, we need to feed the whole man." So we did The Closer I Get to You. We did a remake of that first. And then after it was such a success, and it went up on the charts on the album, and then we came back with Dedicated to You. That went to #1 on the Billboard charts, and then A Love Like This. And every album we would do one song, and so that's how we began to do that. And as far as Brenda and I, it wasn't supposed to be. It was a group, but it kind of morphed into this duet of marriage and love and the way we stay together. First of all, I married my best friend. That's the first thing. I mean, and so folk are looking at, like I say on that record, guys are looking and girls are looking at, woo, child, don't he look good? He could be the worst thing in a pair of pants. It's not what's on the outside, it's what's the inside, what's in the heart.
Absolutely.
Thank God that I married my best friend, and then we both saved, gotten the word together, pray together. Those are the essential things. And communication. Communication is key. And also empathy, knowing how to be in the other person's shoes. I found that that's the biggest thing. It's easily said, but it's not easily done. Okay. And that is to be able to get in the other person's shoes and look at it from their perspective. Say, man, okay, if I said that to her, if she said that to me, how would I feel? Or if I did this, that's a big thing. That's empathy. And then communication is essential. So anyway,
and what has it been like for you guys being able to help minister to other couples all over the country and all over the world, specifically with your music, but also doing workshops and just also being an example of a godly couple, as your wife Brenda wrote the song, or she did the song called God's Woman. Mm-hmm. And you guys really are God's couple, because that's one thing that I admire about you guys. Like I said, after all these years, you're still going strong like the ever-ready battery of relationships.
We did a song on the latest album called After All These Years, I'm Still So In Love With You.
Nice.
And it's really a blessing. If you get a chance to play it sometime, you should play it. But what's it like? It's been such a blessing. It's an awesome blessing, but it's also an awesome responsibility, because you want to keep your life straight with God. You want to keep your example and continue to be example, because a lot of people are looking and they're looking at you and they're a blessing and you're an example for them. And so you can't let the devil get in there and tear it up. And he tries with every couple. He tries the little thing, little mess, like I say in the thing, woman left the top off the toothpaste again, I'm gonna go crazy, like little stuff that just tries to get in there and start doing things. Or if he leaves this shirt or coat right here one more time, so, but it's just, but don't let the sun go down on your wrath. That's another thing,
right?
Fix it then. That scripture is so important. Don't let it fester, because if it festers, it'll get seed and it'll grow root, and then that seed will turn into resentment, and it just gets bigger and bigger. So you need to cut that stuff off at the root. Don't let it, and that scripture is so important. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath.
Absolutely. For those of you just joining us, I'm Eric J. Chambers. This is the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. You are watching a pre-Valentine special tonight as we're talking to Phil Nicholas of the duo Nicholas. He and his wife Brenda. Brenda's not here with us tonight. We were hopeful she was going to be, but she's out getting some handling some business in the meantime. But we have him, and of course it is a delight to have my friend on. And Phil, how has your relationship with both you and Brenda, how have you guys evolved over the years from those early years up until now?
Well, I mean, we've just continued to grow. By the way, on that other question you were talking about, as far as things that have happened and the awesome responsibility, we started doing a thing called the Nicholas Love Cruise, which we actually every year would get away and try to reserve most of a cruise ship and cruise either from Miami to the Bahamas or things like that. And we would invite couples to come. And then Dr. Miles, this all happened. Dr. Miles Monroe would speak, and Dr. Bernard, and we tried to get Tony on with us a couple of times, but his anniversary, we would always go in June. And his anniversary was right then, and he was doing something with his wife. But that was something that we did. And then of course, the 2008 or 9, when the economy went bad, and then not too long after that, Dr. Miles had a tragic accident. So we hadn't done that, but yeah, that's something that we did. And then as we've evolved, we did the recording, and then we did the Love Cruise, and now the next thing we're evolving into is writing our book, and that's what we are working on that, and we hope to have that out, Lord willing. Our daughter is pushing us because it may turn into a documentary or maybe even a movie. I mean, the story is wow. I'll have to send it to you. I have to send you some of the synopsis. But the book is called "A Love Like This Still Does Exist." And
I played your song "Dedicated" on the show Sunday, and I got a text while I was driving from someone who it was the first time that person had heard it, and it just blessed them greatly. I've been listening to those songs for so many years, and I'm so grateful that I'm still able. My show is going on 29 years old, and I'm grateful that I'm still able to play it, and it still sounds just as great today as it did when it first came out.
That's what I was going to say, that a lot of people said, and this God is just so awesome. When we did it with strings and horns and classicals, and we didn't niche our stuff to, like, sometimes the 80s sound had an 80s sound, but we tried to make it like a classical sound. And actually what happened is it stood the test of time. People hear, the closer I get to you, they hear "Love Like This," and they say, "Oh, who's this new group? Who these guys?" But no, these songs these songs are old, a lot of them. But we recorded it in with classical instruments and things that would kind of, like I said, stand the test of time. Violins and cellos are never going out, you know.
That's right.
Horns and trombones and strings and things like that. And then we tried to write those things to in such a universal thing. So God has blessed it to stand the test of time. And I appreciate your comment about that. But yes, a lot of people feel that when they hear it, they think it's new.
Well, again, you guys made it for the ages, and we're going to get back to the conversation in just a moment. But what I want to do right now is give people just a taste of your song, "Dedicated." And we're going to dedicate this to all of the people that you see who are couples in this presentation, as well as those who are watching, and perhaps we didn't get a chance to get it, you in the piece, but nevertheless, I hope that it blesses you.
I am dedicated to you, gonna be with you my whole life through. On this you can rely, I'll love you till I die. Listen. And when he calls us home, I'll see you on high.
I am dedicated to you, to be with you my whole life through. This love that I feel, I know that it's real. This joy that we share is an answer to prayer.
Whoa, we've gone through the good times, and we'll make it through the bad times together. Whoa, yes we will, yes we will.
In these last days it's rougher, so our love must be tougher than ever.
name in your life, you can say, oh,
I'm dedicated to you.
oh, I thank God for this love He's given us. Lord, we owe it all to you.
Once again, everybody, Eric J. Chambers here, the Cut Chronicles from Hollywood. That was the sounds of my friend, Phil Nicholas, along with his bride, Brenda Nicholas. They've been doing this for such a long time. What goes through your mind when you saw that and when you hear your music, even after all these years?
Oh, it's such a. By the way, you put you put our name on somebody's picture. I don't know if you saw that. That's
Look,
all right.
that was a last minute thing. I'm going to fix it for
No
Facebook.
problem. No problem. I said,
But
oh,
nevertheless,
there's
and then
another Phil.
I saw that I left
look,
out
I
an
said,
H on yours.
I said, there's another Phil and Brenda. And I said, from Palm Springs. I said, man, that's
Actually, let me go on and give that was my cousin Stephanie and her husband down in Jacksonville, Florida.
Is that who that
And
was? That's who
so-
that was?
Yeah, that's who it was. And
Yeah, well,
so
make
what
sure. Yeah,
happened-
make sure they get their. Yeah, they're right because they'll see their picture and say, "Whoa, they got." The, make sure they get their name on there.
Well, that was the last thing that I did as we were going on the air.
Hey, brother,
And I guess I didn't
understand.
check that one. A couple of them got by me, but I'll
worry about it,
rectify it
man.
though.
Hey, man, look, and by the way, I appreciate God has blessed you, man, over the years, and your show, the hosting. You were the one that gave us our first certificate before we didn't get the doctorate that year, but you honored us at the Next
Dimension?
Yeah, Next Dimension.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you were actually one that presented us, our certificates and everything. So, and you've been doing it for a while, man. God has blessed you, man. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work, man.
Well, thank you so much. I know that you got to get going here, but in the meantime, I just wanted to say it's a pleasure seeing you once again.
Yes.
And
I wanted to say, my wife, so don't know. Yeah, we're going. I'm going to take her for Valentine's Day to a concert up in Las Vegas, and so we're going to drive up there and have some alone time and everything. So she's out shopping, getting ready to go. So we leave early.
Yep.
So she's getting some things together. And she said she's going to try to make it back, but I knew, once these women start shopping, man, it's over. It's over. They ain't, so. But anyway, yeah. So that's why we missed her. But I'm just so honored that you were thinking about us, and I'm also blessed that you keep our music alive, and we appreciate that, man.
Oh, without question. You guys are one of my favorites. And like I said, I've got multiple cuts and then some of it is seasonal like this. You can't go through Valentine without playing Dedicated to You or The Closer I Get to You.
Yeah.
And then of course at Mother's Day time, we have God's Woman.
Yes.
I mean, people absolutely love that song still after all of these years.
Yeah, and we try to write about life. We had a song called "We're Going to Have a Baby," which celebrates people, and just about having when our son came along, we wrote that song, and just about how God blessed us. A lot of people were trying to have kids and didn't, weren't blessed, and so we did that. And of course, one of our staples, we just had a chance to do a YouTube version of a song, one of our biggest songs, "Gotta Tell Somebody."
Oh, that was amazing with all the different people.
Yeah. And the Lord bless us. Everybody was still alive. They did it. They recorded it. So the original bass player, original drummer, all the vocalists all came back. And then we were able to show then and now from back in the 80s and pictures of them, today. So, that one kind of went viral for us. Gotta Tell Somebody. So
Awesome.
God bless you.
Well, say hi to Brenda for me, and you'll
Definitely.
get a chance to just see the replay on this. Just show her the link. And,
Hey, man, and I'll just say to your listeners and the viewers, we just love you. Keep us in your prayers. We'll be praying for you. This world right now is in, just so many. We need believers to stand up in this world today and be counted.
absolutely.
So we love
And
you all.
you guys keep on doing your beautiful sanitized music because it seems like the music, like you were saying, they were ready to throw you guys out of the church initially, and now people are wishing that they had music like this because the
Yeah.
times have changed,
Yes.
music has evolved, but
Yes.
yours continues to be sanitized.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
God bless you, my man, and say hi to your bride, and happy anniversary to you guys, and
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful time.
God bless you, Doctor Chambers. Take care and
Okay,
God bless.
that is Phil Nicholas. Phil, see you later. Again, everybody, Eric J. Chambers here. This is a special pre-Valentine episode of the Cut Chronicles. And joining us right now, we're going to bring a couple of people from the Chi-Town, from the Windy City, beginning with
Yes.
my cousin Carrie
Yes. God bless you, family.
and my other cousin. There she is, Jeanette. How are you?
I'm blessed and praying that I stay connected. I'm having some technology difficulty. I need a new laptop, and I'm just asking God to make sure we just stay connected while we're on this podcast.
Do it,
Okay,
Lord.
well,
Do
well,
If I
since
go away, you'll know what's going on.
since the enemy is busy, this is what we'll do.
Oh
Why
well.
don't we start with you? And you, of course, have you. First of all, both of them are my cousins, and you guys had a chance to finally meet up this past Sunday, huh?
Yes, she
Uh,
surprised me.
Tell me about that.
I love surprising folks. When she reached out to me after the broadcast last Monday, and I reached back out to her and asked her to send me her contact information, and she immediately sent me her contact information and the name of her church. And I said, okay. And because I'm doing what I'm doing with my church now, I get a chance to visit any church that I so like on a Sunday, except for the first Sunday.
Hmm.
And so I decided that, okay, I'm going to pop in at Labor of Love Apostolic Church on this Sunday, and I'm going to surprise my cousin.
And
She
this
never
was the
told me
first
she was
time you
coming
guys
lady
met,
though.
right?
I'm
And
sorry.
it was the first time that you met, correct?
The first time that we had ever met. She didn't tell me she was the first lady. I didn't know really how she looked. But I mean, I saw this beautiful woman in this African garb on yesterday morning, and I said, no, that's got to be my cousin right there.
And there she is in the middle
There we
there
are.
with
It
her
was an
husband,
awesome, it was a blessing.
Carrie.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, tell it.
Oh yeah, it was a blessing. But see, this what she didn't understand, cousin. I love surprises. I love when somebody surprised me, and she did just that. God knows his girl likes surprises, and my cousin surprised me. And when I just happened to look back, I'm one of them that I look around the room to see who. And then when I look back, she had this beautiful smile. I just got up on my seat, and she said, "Are you Carrie Bender?" I said, "Yeah, that's me, because I'm still a Bender." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And she has such a beautiful cousin spirit. I mean, I felt, you know how some people you could just feel their spirit. I felt her beautiful, warm spirit, and it was a blessing. Watch this. It was a blessing to have some family in the house, because I am the only family of Labor Love Apostolic Church in my family.
Really?
So
Out of
every
all the
time a
kinfolk in
family
Chicago, well, we need to get them to come out and represent.
do they
That
do that.
makes
Now
no
don't get me
sense.
wrong. If I call them, or I'm the preacher, or we having something special, they will come out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I am the only one that's a member of my Diane. She be faking anyway.
That's your sister.
I hope she
Okay.
on the line. I hope she on the line, But seriously, yeah. So it's always a blessing to see a family or friend to show up for me on
Oh yes.
Sundays. I
Oh yes.
love it. So
Oh yes. And it
you
was
the
an
best.
awesome,
Look,
awesome.
my cousin on the line, but right now you the best cousin ever.
And it was a mighty awesome worship service. Her husband did an awesome job in educating us on our African American history. He
Yes.
took us on a journey that only God could have created a people like us, together with
Mhm.
Yeah.
everybody else. And so we just had a wonderful, wonderful experience and a holy Holy Ghost good time for me.
Yes, 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 we did.
That's awesome. Well, we've got some very gifted and talented people in our family. And for those of you who don't know, Jeanette has a daughter who is one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
All right. We
And
got
I even saw you on there before. So what was that like?
For me,
Yeah.
um, it was reality.
Okay.
It was reality. It's really not, scripted. It was exciting. It was nerve wracking.
wow.
It was all of those things. It was nerve wracking. I'm just excited for my daughter. I'm excited for what she's trying to do in the realm of being a housewife. I know a
And
lot of
that's her on the
people.
far right. Tell us her name.
Drew Sidora. And Drew is not only a housewife. Drew's been doing this stuff that she's doing for since she was 8 years old. So she landed this housewife, uh, I guess, gig you call it, as a result of Allison, my older daughter, who has an entertainment management company. Allison really kind of pitched Drew for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she was blessed. She was blessed to be able to do it. She and her husband.
And
Her
that's
name is Drew
Allison
Sidora
on
Pittman.
that's Allison in the picture with you and I in the middle there holding the food.
Yes.
When I came to Chicago and I did the book signing at your place, man, you guys took great care of me. And Allison, sure enough, took care of a cousin.
Okay. Okay. And I'm hoping Allison is logged into this podcast. They were having problems logging in, so I hope she's in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had an amazing time there. She made sure that I stayed with you guys for about 4 or 5 days there.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes,
I
she did.
really appreciate you opening your house to me. You just knew me from Facebook. In
Right.
fact, what I did is I put a post saying that I was going to be coming to Chicago to do book signings, and you offered your place, and Drew and Ralph were there. In fact, I remember them staying an extra day. They were living in LA at the
Yes.
time, and they decided to stay an extra day. And so I'll be forever grateful for that because of the fact that they hung out to be with their cousin on that evening.
Absolutely. Family. Family. Nothing like family. You do what you do for family.
Absolutely. And of course, cousin Jeanette, your husband Robert, he is dealing with Alzheimer's, is it, or
Yes,
dementia?
it's also well, Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Dementia is
Okay,
like the umbrella, and then underneath dementia you have Alzheimer's, Lewy body, vascular. So yes, he has Alzheimer's, and
okay,
he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2016. Uh, we started noticing some changes in his cognitive behavior, and in 2017 we retired. We insisted that he retired. He was still practicing medicine. He practiced medicine, and he went out kicking and screaming because he
hmm
didn't know why he was retiring, but he
hmm
still was on target with his diagnosis and his love for his patients. And so but we had to insist that he retired June the 30th of 2017, not only for his safety, but for his patient safety. So yes,
And
and
again, that's him. When I was at your house there, for the book signing and everything, and so it was awesome. And of course, you um, and he together, you guys, I guess, collaborated to write this book, From Suspenders to Stethoscopes, the Dr. Jordan story. Tell us about that.
okay, this book is I had been talking to Bob about writing a book for many, many years because it's a love story, and it is also an authorized biography that was helped being written by Marilyn Foster, who is a publisher. Uh, in the book, it talks about when Bob was a little snotty nosed boy growing up in Long, Mississippi, living with his
Okay.
grandma, Mary Ida Bender. It talks about the dysfunctionality of the family. If you read it, you will also see that the names in the book have been changed to protect the innocent because
Okay.
it's some juicy stuff in this book. And so, but it's true, and he needed to get a lot of the stuff out just for some closure for himself on some things.
Mm-hmm.
But it talks about really how it does not matter what your socioeconomic orientation is.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever it is that you have been gifted and been blessed to do in life. And
Mm-hmm.
so he went from being, yes, wearing suspenders, picking cotton, uh, being on the bottom rung of the ladder, to getting it together after we got married. We had been married 10 years with 3 kids when he decided to go to medical school.
Wow.
And so he did it. He did it and he succeeded at it. And he is a celebrity in the south suburbs of Chicago.
All
He has
right.
taken care of thousands and thousands of children. And the
Mm-hmm.
wonderful thing is when I post my journey now,
Mm-hmm.
is to see the responses that we get from the patients that he has taken care of over the years, taking care of the patient and taking care of their children.
And
So,
he's
but
a pediatrician,
he's
correct?
a pediatrician. He's a
Mm-hmm.
chose to be a pediatrician. He loves babies. We have 5 of our own.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the book is just
Uh-oh.
Again, this is the book. It's called From Suspenders to Stethoscopes, the Dr. Jordan story. And it's an amazing account of his life, as she said, coming from Laurel, Mississippi to being able to do the things that he's doing right, up until he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. So, what we're going to do while she deals with the technical issue, I'm glad we went to her first. What I'm going to do right now is come to cousin Carrie. Cousin
Yes.
Carrie, welcome aboard.
Hey, family.
And of course, you've got an amazing story yourself.
Yes, I do.
And this is your book, From a
Yeah.
Hustler's Woman to the Pastor's Wife. Tell us about it.
Well, a girl always be looking for her daddy in a man. I did not know my father, but when I found out who my father was, he was a hustler. Now I understand why the life that I live, because I was looking for my father in a man. And I didn't like a working man. I only like a hustler's man. I wanted somebody who brought that money home every day.
They brought that change home.
Every day.
All right
Every
now.
day. You just don't know the cares of life. You don't know why you go through what you go through to get to where you at today. See, because I never thought I would be a pastor's wife. That was the last thing on my agenda. Matter of fact, when I was younger, my mother and them used to have us in church so much. I said when I got grown, I was never going to church. I didn't like the old ladies always giving me peppermint that gave me a headache. Everything I
Now, are you carrying peppermint in your purse?
could. Cousin, yes. Do you hear me?
Now you're the peppermint lady.
Man, God make you eat the words. God made me eat the words. And yes, I am carrying peppermints today. Do you hear what I say? But it's definitely a blessing what I went through to get to where I'm at today. And I thank God that I was able to be transparent, because that's what coming to Labor Love Apostolic Church. People come in that's, was on drugs and they didn't know. This is the thing about a lot of people don't know that they are welcome into the household of faith. That's why we still have to let them know that they welcome and always invite them in, because they still don't believe that they welcome. We have a sister, I hope she's on the line. We have a sister right now, never thought she was qualified to come into the church because she was on drugs or she was a prostitute on the street. And guess who went and got her?
You?
Yes. Now, if I wasn't who I was, I probably wouldn't even step to it. You understand what I'm saying? You know how people is when they got degrees, they got bachelor's degrees, doctorate degrees, and sometimes people think they better than other, but we got to remember we all started somewhere, even though everybody don't like to tell a story. So them the kind of people I chase after still today. If I see a woman on the street today, I'm still gonna chase after her. Not that I sold my body on the streets, but I did do some stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. Cousin,
But
you was a bad girl out there, huh?
I was the sweetest little thing my grandmother ever had. Well, you know what, cousin? I asked my mother, was I her worst child? And all she did was laugh. So I guess that's the answer.
Okay, well, she's like,
See,
no comment. I would
see,
not
but this is
confirm
what
nor
people don't
deny that.
understand. This is what people don't understand. They got kids, and the kids they think is the worst one. That's the one that keep them closer to God. I kept my mama close to God because I kept her praying.
Absolutely. Again, the name
Yes.
of your book, From a Hustler's Woman to the Pastor's Wife. What has that transformation been like for you?
It really, I can't speak. I can only speak for me because I was raised up as a people person and I came from a big family and a
Uh-huh.
loving family. It's really easy to kind of love God people,
Mm-hmm.
but there's always going to be some little witch, some little Jezebel, or some little seducing spirit. Always got to come in. I'm serious, cousin. And I
Mm-hmm.
just asked God recently, well, when is this thing gonna ever stop? And the Lord said to me, to the day you or him die. Oh, Lord, you mean to tell me I got to put up with this the rest of my life? Yes, as long as I am a pastor's wife, there's always going to be somebody that's going to come at. Well, he is a nice looking man. You know what I'm saying? He is handsome, but it's a beautiful thing because I know God and I know who I am in God. So I don't really have to do anything but just really stand there, pray, and be who I am in God. And one thing I would never do is let another woman know she got to me. You understand what I'm saying?
And that's your husband there, Anthony Williams. What kind of a guy
Yeah.
is he?
Oh man, the best ever. I call him today. He's the best man ever. He is. After all the four that I had together, he better than all them four put together. I hope they listening, but it's okay. It's true. It's true. It's true. Because number one, I got a God-fearing man. So if
Uh-huh.
I got a God-fearing man, and he does, I'm not saying this, he does everything that he can to make me happy. And
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to live that model where the Bible said that love your wife like Christ loved the church.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't there, but he almost there. You understand what I'm saying? So
Okay.
there's nothing really that Carrie don't have need of, but a little close. I would love to get closer and closer to God. But my husband is a man after God's own heart. I'm gonna say that.
So you once upon a time were, I guess, the guys who were the hustlers, those were your speed at one point.
Oh, was yes, yeah, well, yeah, yes, cousin.
Cousin, you have been redeemed, right?
I am set free. Do you hear me? I'm set free. Yes, and I wanted to be delivered from that because that was not a good place to be in. Number one. Number two, a lot of them brothers is abusive because they really don't know who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the guys that they want to be the player. They want to have more than one woman. And I'm a one man's woman, and I knew this, but the life that I was living, I didn't even know then what my worth was. But today I know what my worth is. So yes, them kind of guys I did attract. But like I said, I was looking for my father in them.
Wow. Cousin Jeanette, you and Robert, how long have you guys been married now?
60 years. July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 60 years and 6 months.
Oh,
60
Jesus
years
Christ.
and 6 months?
I
Wow.
was 5 when I got married.
Oh,
I heard Nicholas said he was 10.
So you were a child
oh
bride, huh?
I was
yeah.
a baby. No, I got married. We got married in July 29th, 1962. And it was a whirlwind romance. We only knew each other 6 months. We met in January of 1962. We got engaged in April and were married in July.
Wow.
I was still in high school, and instead of I chose to go get married rather than to go to my prom.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, it
And
was
and
a
and the interesting thing is after all these years, you guys, still love each other and up to the point where he could love you, before this disease got a hold to him.
absolutely, absolutely. That is, I mean, when you
What is
are
the
in a
key to that? What is the key to it? Because we have so many people who fall in and out of love, it's for seasons and you guys you signed a lifetime contract. You honor the covenant all the way till the end.
that's it. That's the important thing. Is signing the covenant and understanding what the covenant is.
Mhm.
You know, we I did have a point of reference because my mom and my dad had been married forever,
Mhm.
50 years
Mhm.
almost. Bob did not have a point of reference because his parents did not stay married, but he
Okay.
knew what he did not want because he had seen the abuse and he had seen the infidelity and he had seen the kids being separated. So he had already framed in his mind when he got married what it was that he was not going to do. And that was not going to be unfaithful to his wife, not going to abandon his family. And he was really sincere, even at a young age, because he was 20. And we talked about it.
Mhm.
We talked about it. Uh, uh, how we were going to be staying together for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, and in sickness and in health. Uh, to the point where, I think marriage counseling is one of the great things that people kind of gloss over.
Mhm.
Because Bob was a Catholic when we got married, and we were getting married in a Catholic church, they required you to do what they call a pre-cana, which is a marriage counseling.
Mhm.
And they took us through some real drilling at a young age because they felt that we weren't ready. But we came out on top because we were able to answer those questions that they asked. Do you love one another? What are you planning for your kids? So we had some ideas.
Mhm.
Now let me tell you, marriage is not peaches and cream
That's
all
right.
the way. If someone tells you it is, they are telling a
Lie,
lie. You're gonna have some stumbling
lie,
blocks.
lie.
You're gonna have some hurdles. You're going to have some really, really tough situations that you will be in during your marriage. But if you honor your covenant, that's the for better, for worse,
Right.
the for richer, for poor, and the sickness and the health. And that's where I am now. I have been through the for better, for worse, and we survived it because communication is so very important. We most oftentimes don't hear one another. We listen, but we don't hear. And
Right.
so, even if you're in an argument or disagreement, you're so busy trying to defend your position that you don't even hear what your partner is saying.
That's
So
true.
you miss out on a lot of things. We don't embrace what brought us together in the first place. You
Right.
know,
And
when
I
Bob and
think
I would get into those little tips, I'd go back and get those beautiful pictures that we had
And
shared
remind yourself,
and
huh?
reminders of this is what brought us together in the first place. Let's go back and try to relive some of those good old loving times. And I did hear, I think that was Nicholas saying, you don't let the sun go down without resolving
Absolutely.
that's
You
right.
whatever
know, a
issue.
few years ago, I met a couple in Pasadena. I did a story on them. They had been married for 74 years.
Ooh.
74 years. Take a look at their story.
Meet 96-year-old Reverend Freeman Stevens of Pasadena, California, and his 92-year-old bride, Susie. The couple are a living testimony of what can happen in a marriage when two people who love each other are willing to do whatever it takes to honor the covenant.
Marriage is a vow that can't be broken. Marriage, I ain't talking about a wedding. There's a difference of marriage and a wedding.
That has been the theme of their marriage since day one. The couple met in their native home state of Georgia in 1932, the same year Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean.
Old Alabama Johnny, state of Florida.
Both Reverend Stevens and his wife were cotton pickers on their family's farms when they
At
met.
that time, see, you had certain time for courtship. You didn't just go to the house any night in the week and all during the week. They didn't allow that. You had to be able to make so many visits, during the week. And most time we'd be able to chat would be on a Sunday at the churches. And that was our meeting places most, because at that time, you could meet just about all the young boys and girls on the churchyard.
This is Reverend and Mrs. Stevens' marriage certificate, dated January 15th, 1933, from the state of Georgia, where they got married more than 74 years ago. They say one of the keys to success in their marriage is prayer. They do it every single morning right here at this table after he prepares breakfast. Their marriage has seen 13 presidents hold office, from President Herbert Hoover in 1933 to George W. Bush. Little did they know their lives would be spared so long and their marriage would stand the test of times, including the time when Reverend Stevens was called to preach.
I had said that I didn't want no minister for no husband. But when he was being called into the ministry, he said, honey, are you going to be with me? And I said, yes. And that's one thing that I'll keep until death do us part.
Bethel Missionary Baptist Church in Pasadena, California was formed in their living room in 1959. Reverend Stevens pastored the church until 2003. While many marriages nowadays seem to end before the ink dries on the marriage certificate, Reverend and Mrs. Stevens hope to be an example that you can make it if you are determined to and just persist. After 74 years of marriage, the couple, who had 4 children, still love, respect, and speak well of each other. They say they've never had a fight or even a heated argument. Their parting advice for couples: don't listen to gossip about your spouse, and do practice forgiveness. And finally, don't forget to embrace each other with hugs, and please, please don't forget the kiss.
You kiss so fast.
Okay, do it again.
I would love to talk on that.
Tell it.
Man, that's awesome. When I say that's awesome, because coming up this year, I'll be married 21 years, and there's not a day, unless I'm out of town, my husband get kisses still in the morning time.
All right now,
still
Reverend.
nighttime, still in between time. He is getting some sugar, and I love what the lady said when she said, "Oh, he kissed so fast." Sometimes my husband do that. I be like, "Baby, that one no
Slow it
real
down.
sugar. Slow it down. I want some real sugar. I want to feel that sugar. I need to feel that sugar." Even if you don't want to, make me feel that thing. So I'm just telling you, it's the truth. And I love what cousin said about forgiveness. I'm the one. I'm so easy to forgive anybody. My husband, I don't care what he do, what he say. I could give him 30 seconds. I said, "Baby, you hungry? Baby, you want something to eat? Baby," and he looked at me like, "Did she know what I just said?" Hey, that's you and God. That brushed off right here for me. So it's a blessing and forgiving for me. And the communication part, I love today. My husband is my best friend, and this is true. My daughter, she know my husband still call me, and if I'm not around, he calling me at least 4 or 5 times a day just to see how I'm doing, what I'm doing, how the people treat me at the beauty salon, whatever the case may be. I still get 3 or 4 phone calls a day, and I love it. I do love,
It's
and
wonderful
I love.
wonderful to be able to seal the whole thing with a kiss.
That's it.
Even right now, as Bob is residing in a long-term care facility, and I see him every day. When I leave, he had still not forgotten how to pucker his lips and end our visit with a kiss.
That's right.
So when it's sincere and when you're doing it consistently, it becomes a part of that marriage union.
It's
And
called practice. See,
yeah,
people don't understand. You just practice. Some people, I don't know how they go without affection. I love affection.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Affection is good for the soul, honey, and it's good for me. So when I walk out that door, when another brother say, "Oh, you so cute, you so fine," my husband and I already said that. So what he's saying ain't nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I heard what cousin said. It didn't take long. It didn't take me but 30 days for my husband to ask me to marry him.
Wow. And you've been together for 21 years.
Be 21 years coming up in April.
Right.
And I heard what the brother said, my birthday, that was my birthday gift. I ain't got time to be waiting.
Oh, Nicholas, yeah.
So, it's really supposed to be birthday anniversary, but it's really just birthday.
Okay. Yeah,
But I make sure I take care of him. I do make sure I take care of
but
him.
you know what? I appreciate him. I don't know if he's watching, but
He's
Pastor
probably
Anthony,
listening. He's doing some business in the room, but he's
well, I
listening.
appreciate the
to
love that he gives my cousin. I really do.
He do give it up.
Yeah, and I mean that sincerely because a couple of years ago when we were at the family reunion, we stayed at the at your place in Mississippi. Me and my mom did, and he's just a nice guy. And any time that a man is married into my family and they take great care of my cousin or my sister or whoever it is, I thank God for them.
Thank you,
Because there's so much drama on the outside. And then on the flip side, for the women who marry my cousins who are male, thank you for being a good wife or good
Because
companion.
we something to put up with, cousin. The Taylor, the Bender, the
Well, we have a colorful history that we have, as we mentioned last week on the show.
Yes, but it's worth it. I believe it's worth the fight. When you love something, it's worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
And when you in love with it, it's still worth fighting for it. And of course, we're gonna have differences. Of course, we're not always going to agree, but we could disagree to agree. But it still turned out to be a blessing. And I don't want to give up on this. I will fight. I'm gonna fight. I know I am. And when you say for better and for worse, like my husband 10 years ago, my husband had a liver transplant. And people was worried about if he was gonna get a liver. The moment God put him on that liver and got on the list in November, he got the liver in January. Now that's God. So but God knows me. I ain't got time to be waiting no years, Lord. So I had to be a praying wife. You understand?
So was he already pastoring when you met?
Yes, he was. He was in for 2 years already.
Okay.
He was 2 years already.
So
but we was not at that location.
Okay, unlike the story that we just saw where she wasn't interested in him becoming a pastor, so you walked into the pastorate.
Yeah, no, God walked into that. I ain't walking into nothing. Yeah. Yes, cousin. Because when God told me I was in sin. When I was in sin, I was in a relationship with a man, and God told me, you can't keep living like this. You're gonna be a first lady. And I was like, what? So I asked the brother, I was like, you gonna be a pastor? Well, they say I talk like one. I already knew he wasn't the one. So immediately I started asking God, what do I do? And back in the day, when your mother brought furniture, they always brought them big old, thick old Bibles. When you buy furniture, they give you this big old Bible. So I took my mother's Bible everywhere, and the Lord said to me, read me, eat me. He didn't say read me, eat me every day. From that day to this day still, I eat the word of God every day. It's nutritionist for my soul, my spirit, my body. And that helps a lot with your marriage also.
Awesome. Once again, everybody, I'm Eric J. Chambers. This is the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. I'm talking to cousin Carrie Williams out of Chicago, and also cousin Jeanette Bass Jordan, or Jordan, as they would say up there. Down south is Jordan. you know. But nevertheless, we're having a conversation here on this pre-Valentine day, and thank you so much. If you have a question that you would like to ask them, you can put it in the comment section, and I will get it to them on the screen. If you have a question or a comment, now is the time to do it, as we're going to be here for just a few more short moments. But we thank you guys for being here with us. And for those of you who just joined us and you missed the presentation regarding the couples, I'm going to do a replay of that right quick, and then we're going to come back and wrap things up.
I am dedicated to you. Gonna be with you my whole life through. On this you can rely. I'll love you till I die. Listen. And when he calls us home, I'll see you on high.
I am dedicated to be with you my whole life through. This love that I feel, I know that it's real. This joy that we share is an answer to prayer.
Whoa, we've gone through the good times, and we'll make it through the bad times together. Whoa, yes we will, yes we will.
In these last days it's rougher, so our love must be tougher than ever. I'm dedicated to
It's easy to make it. Listen,
dedicated to
love comes from above, and when you've got him in your life, you can say, oh,
I'm dedicated to you.
oh, I thank God for this love he's given us. Lord, we owe it all to you.
Again, that is our
Yeah.
tribute to couples.
Awesome, awesome. I want to just say something, cousin Eric. I want to talk about my son, who's been married 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Brian
It's
and
in the
his,
blood, huh?
Brian and his wife live in, and Tisha Jordan live in Grand Prairie, Texas. And I think Brian is just made out of the same cloth. I know he's made out of the cloth that his father prepared for him. And even when he got married in his 20s, Brian did, he emulated his dad, and he emulated what he saw in us, and the commitment and the free. And the first thing that you do, you have to be friends. Friends with one another turn into a long life together,
Benefits.
because your husband or your wife should be your best friend. There's
Mhm.
nobody else that can come in to take that place. And so, and Brian and his wife are so committed to their marriage. They are over the marriage ministry at Oak Cliff Bible
Oh, really?
where Tony Evans is the
Oh,
pastor.
wow. How
Yes,
ironic is that?
yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I think that we, as who are married and it has survived, we need to be the catalyst, and the what would you call it, the art piece for those who are looking for longevity in their relationship.
I
It's
have a
not,
couple of questions here.
yeah.
And the first question is our cousin Nikki, also Valisa Taylor. Her husband says, how do you open up to your wife when you're not used to talking?
That's a good answer. Really, you just open your mouth and just start talking, and whatever that you really holding up a blockage. It's not her, especially she loves to talk. You just start communicating with her because this communication is really easy. You
Mhm.
just like we sitting here communicating and we sitting here dialoguing, having a conversation. The same thing with your spouse.
You know, I do a lot of pre-marriage counseling, post-marriage counseling, and you do find a lot of couples that they don't have a conversation because they don't sit around the table like we used to, and everybody have dinner at the table, and you talk about what happened in your day, or you talk about what happened on the job, or you talk to the kids about what's going on at school. And so we're all off doing our own thing. But I've had couples. It started with the Bible. Just started with the Bible. Let's have you do you read the Bible together? And if you read the Bible together, let's talk about what did you get out of that scripture. I mean, you got to start learning how to communicate to one another, feeling comfortable. Why are you not talking? That would be my question. Why are you not talking to one another? You have to be talking about something. I know you're
Mhm.
talking about something, so you have to expand whatever it is that you are thinking that you're not talking about. You have to expand that. You
And
know, look, talk about the news, talk about the current events. We don't want to sit down and have that intimacy with one another. We're too busy. We have
and
to
you know what?
carve out time.
And you know what, cousin? Every morning, most of the mornings, I ain't gonna say every morning because sometimes I be in a rush and I have to go to work. I try to have breakfast with my husband majority of the time, and dinner time we try to meet up at the same time for dinner most of the time, so I could sit and have dinner with him. And I even made my table set a table for two. 'Cause, you know,
Nice.
the only thing invited to the table is there. For
Okay.
you know what I mean? So really, it's just general conversation. He just got to once he start talking, especially he might be just more of a listener than a talker, but he have to talk because that's the only way she gonna know what he feeling if he open up his mouth and tell her. Because we can't read sign. I mean, we can't read your
Minds.
thoughts,
Yeah.
but we can read the signs. So really, once he start talking and talking, the more he open his mouth and start talking, the better their conversation will become.
But as you said, the communication is the key to
The
be
Yeah,
able to,
communication is the glue
yes,
yes.
it is.
that can resolve and restore the cracks that we find will come in our
Mhm.
relationship. I know Bob and I used to every Thursday was our date night. One of the things that I even tell, couples is we don't date anymore.
I like
You're
what
And so
she
right.
said.
you have to have a date night. We put everybody else's stuff on our calendar, but we don't have us on our calendar.
And see,
Absolutely.
now
So
watch this, cousin. Guess what? Me and my husband been doing that for 20 some years. We have date night. Either gonna be Monday, it's gonna be Tuesday. We switch from Tuesday to Wednesday. If we miss Monday or Tuesday, we gonna make it Friday. We mix it, me and him.
and sometimes we have to go as far as being very, very particular or very, very intentional
That's what,
about what we're doing. That's the reason I said you have to put it in your calendar, because sometimes our calendars drive us to do things.
yeah,
So if you look it on your calendar and say, I got a date with my wife on Thursday at 7 o'clock, we're gonna meet up. We used to meet up at a place called Gino's Restaurant. So
that's
that's
right.
where we went, and that's where we had our fun talk and talked about the day or what we were planning to do for the rest of the week, or planning a vacation, or whatever. So and this person that asked about how do you start opening up the conversation when you don't talk? You had to start talking when you met. You were
Hello,
talking. I mean, you
how,
just didn't go
hello.
in mute when you met. So when did
Didn't
you
use
stop?
no
When
sign
did you
language.
stop talking? And find out when that happened, and pick up from there, because you'll find you'll have a lot to talk about because you done missed a lot of stuff over the years.
That's right. Even if
Absolutely.
they just talk about a movie, or they, come together talking about what went on to the day, or how was your day, baby? Did you enjoy this? Whatever it may be. And sometimes, and I'm gonna go to when you can't go out or don't have the money to go out, you can make date day in your own house.
Hmm.
You don't just necessarily
And
have
then
to go
another
out and
thing, cousins, is this. One of the things that I believe that couples should do, I've been down that marriage road a couple of times, is even take vacations, even in your own city.
yes,
You don't
right.
have to get on the plane to come here to LA. You don't
Hey,
have to go to South America. All you
That
might need to do is go a few blocks or a city over, get a hotel, because a
wait,
change of scenery can do wonders. If you're even in my place, I like my place, but there are times when I just want to go and just check in a hotel and write. I did that
well,
like last year, just for a
Eric,
day.
we used to call that, and we did that all the time. We used to call that the ghetto vacation. We
Okay.
would get the kids. We would pack up our little suitcases and go to the Holiday Inn down the street. The kids take their swimming suits, and they had
Awesome.
a ball. Sometimes we would even let the kids invite their friends, and we would just take over the hotel. And it was just down the street. But when you get into that different environment, you just let your hair down and
that's right.
have fun. You have to live. You know what? Life ain't that serious.
It
And
ain't.
another thing, life ain't that long. Another thing, even I mean, in a relationship, if you found your soulmate, you found that your babe, your good thing,
Yo,
then
boo.
your boo, you gotta like Carrie said, you gotta work on that. One of the things that I did, I mean, I spiced up my marriage. I
Hello.
mean, I tell you, my hair was long, and then I would cut it short in case my husband just looked at something and maybe his mind just wandered over there, and it
That's right.
sounded he may had a thought maybe if I had something like that. Well, I was blonde today and redhead tomorrow.
You know it, cousin. We
I wore
know
lingerie one night and I
it.
All
wore
right
big
now.
baggy pajamas the next. I mean, you gotta spice it up. You can't be
Look,
you can't
okay.
be boring in the marriage either. You got to be able to do that pillow talk. You got
There
to
you
be
go.
able to do what you do together. As long as you have agreed, come on, let's make this thing work. We said for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health. Look, I can go back right now and just relive my life with my husband.
Hmm.
And you
It's
know
nothing
what?
I can do. I just go back and I go through the pictures. I sit back and I reminisce over all of the wonderful times that we have had together. And I'm not sorry about anything.
Hmm.
I thank God for allowing me 60 years of love and happiness. And I thank Him for the bumps and the stumbles and the falls and the ability to get up and fix it and just to keep it moving.
Amen. Let me say that to that cousin who said her husband don't talk. This is how you will know if he really want to communicate. If he watching sports or something he really like, put on some stilettos,
Oh,
heels,
there
and
you
some
go.
fishnet stockings or whatever, and walk right past him and see what he
Oh,
interested in. I
Yeah.
guess guarantee he'll start talking to him.
but even if not,
Baby, if he don't do them, say, baby, what you trying to do?
even that's a good thing. But for those women that can't do that, if your husband is into sports,
They can tiptoe, cousin. They ain't got to walk out.
There
You
you
get it.
go.
Then you get into sports too.
You
My
see, I
husband loves.
myself, I'm a sports guy, and to me, what's more attractive for me is a woman who loves sports, especially
That's it.
pro football, even better than cooking.
Now
If
watch
That's right.
this.
because look, in my first marriage, rest her soul, but my wife didn't like the fact that I love football. This was my sanctuary,
Yes.
and she kind of despised the fact that I loved it. And I'm like, this is the career that I want to be in. I ended up, covering the San Diego Chargers for 5 years. I got to watch this so that I can learn the sport,
Right. Right.
and there are
But that's
some
what.
people who will distract you. But I think the important thing is learn to like, even if you don't like it, just don't hate it. If that's what he loves. And look, another example. I hated soap operas. But
Me
I
too.
remember when we first, just after we first got married back in '85. In fact, February 16th, 1985, we got married, and so I'm in the Navy at the time, and didn't know how to operate the VCR that we had. So I would have to sit there and record all my children for her because I'm on vacation. So I got to record it manually and stop it during the commercial breaks. Guess what? After about a week of that, a brother done got hooked. I,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yes.
And
And
then
that's
I was like, whoa. I'm
yeah.
seriously, I was in the Navy and I absolutely fell in love with all my children. I used to watch a little bit of The Young and the Restless, but all my children with Erica Kane and Zach Grayson and all of those
Yeah.
people, that was
Eric,
my show.
let me
But
tell you,
again, it was basically, tapping into, okay, this is what she wants. It's not what I want. And you might mess around and like it.
I like it because
Right.
Bob loved to golf. Bob was a golfer. And I used to say I would never follow a little white ball over a golf course trying to hit it in a little hole. But let me tell you, what I first learned was the golf course is beautiful. And we had our time together, riding on that cart together, 18 holes. The second thing is I picked up a golf club and knocked the heck out of the golf ball. And I said, okay, and I'm very, very competitive. I got to be able to play with him every week, do the things that he loved. And in turn, then he started to do some of the things that I love. He didn't have a
There
lot of
you
time
go.
because he was
So
the
it's a give
physician.
and take situation
It's
there.
Yeah,
a give
it
and
is.
and it's not 50-50. When people say it's a 50, it's not 50-50 because there are some things that are 75-25.
That's
And
right.
Okay.
it may be his 75 and my 25, but on the other end, there's some things that are 95 on my side and 5 on his. So you have to be able to balance that thing out. You have to know who's best at doing what. I didn't like to cook. I had to cook. He loved to cook. I let him cook and he wasn't a chauvinist to say that was what I was supposed to do.
Now
Right.
watch this, cousin. Watch this. Now my husband loves to wash clothes, fold clothes up. I hated it. God sent me somebody that loved what I did. Like, now
Ironically, I do.
I'm gonna make sure that house clean. I'm gonna make sure he get his dinner. I still fix his plate today if he choose that. But grocery store, I don't like. And my husband is therapy for him. Ain't God good? God is
But
good.
see, for
So
me, I'm like your husband because when it comes to ironing, I still iron and in bulk. I don't usually iron 1 or 2 shirts at a time. I may be ironing for 4 hours watching YouTube or something like that because that's how my mother used to do it when she would
Okay.
iron everybody's clothes for the whole week. And then also when I was in the Navy, I used to make money. Like when I had duty, like on a Friday night, and if Jeanette and Carrie want to go out party, okay, I'll iron your uniform. And so I would have people's uniforms, starched by the time they came back. And so I still love doing that.
that's
And even when
good.
it comes to, I'm a domestic kind of guy. When it comes to washing dishes, I have no problem with it. I have a dishwasher. I have never used it in the 5 years that I've been at my place.
Right.
Prefer to watch because it's therapeutic for me.
But
I'll
That's
let
put
me
right.
the music on. I'll put the television on or something like that. And so those are the kinds of, it's a mindset.
That's right.
Confucius was right when he said, if you change your mind, you can change your circumstances. So if you
yeah.
detest washing dishes or you detest vacuuming the floor, stuff that I love doing, because that's where my thought process is coming. That's where I get these ideas to do things. Then you could make that work to your advantage. But
And
when
because
unfortunately you are detesting it, that's when it becomes a chore.
Yeah.
right, and a lot of times we make it hard, make it difficult for each other. Say, for instance, you know your husband not the kind of man that cleans up, but you love cleaning up, but you nitpicking at everything he do because you got this phobia about making sure the house is clean, making sure the paper, make sure you know what I mean. And then That's not what he do. That's what you do. Just do it, and you won't even have to upset yourself. No, that's what you to realize that's not what he do. I'm gonna give her for instance. One time when we first got married, I was like, "Why this brother don't put the toilet seat down? He know I'm coming behind him. What's the problem, right?" Now watch it, and then the Lord reminded me. This is what God said to me. He had to lift it up every time you go. So I never said nothing to him about the toilet ever again.
Okay, there you
Something
go.
that's simple, and we make it so hard and so difficult. And men's really, you all don't want that much. It be us. We want this. We want
Well,
this. We
men
want
really
this.
are very,
Simple.
simple. Women are complicated. Men, for the most part, we're very simple.
But we don't. But we need to understand our relationship before we say I do, and that's the
Absolutely.
reason I advocate for marriage counseling, so you can talk about the very things that we're talking about, and get in a relationship, and then find out this man all he want to do is iron. You already know he's gonna love the iron,
No,
or
look,
he's
I've
gonna
been
want
married twice, and both of my wives, especially the first, I used to love ironing her pleated skirts. And look, and when they came home, and if I was off, they never had to worry about vacuuming because I always took care of that.
all
Vacuuming, or if
right.
she cooked, look, I'll go in there and bust the suds. I have no problem with that. So I'm like I said,
But
a
what was with
domesticated kind of
cousin?
guy.
What
But
cousin?
I'm thankful
What
for
was
my
lack?
mother because my mother made us do that when we were kids. We lived in our little trailer, but my mother made us have like it's your week to wash dishes. Every now and then she might let us go to sleep at night, but by 5 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna see him again before you go to school. So I just kind of got accustomed to that, making the bed. I'm not out of my bed more than a minute, no more than 5 minutes before my bed is made. Usually it's the first thing I do. Every blue moon, I'll not make it for about 5 or 10 minutes,
I
but
think we all was trained like that, cousin. Cause still today, I make up my bed. My husband
absolutely.
know to make up that bed to have it made up. If by the time I get back, I mean, don't I even though I know I'm getting back in that bed, it's something about it has to be made up for me to get back in the bed. And
Absolutely.
and he knows this, and he does the same thing. My fact,
Absolutely.
sometimes he'll do his side already, so I could just do my side.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions here. That my friend Lacora in Pasadena said, "Go ahead, Eric, bust them suds." Yeah, I love washing the dishes, and so that is one of those things that and so it's one of those things that I've done. Like I said, I've just looked at it differently. You're gonna have to do it anyway. And then of course, when I was in the military, we had inspections. Not only did you have to make the bed, but you had to make sure that those corners were perfect. I
Wow.
still fold everything from underwear, t-shirt, towels. I still fold all of that.
But
41 years later,
you
the
got
way
some
I did.
cousins that's watching us right now,
Hmm.
and they ain't getting what you talking about.
I know it. I
You know
get it.
what? They said, what the heck is he talking
But
about?
look, there's a
So
lot
we
of
got
guys who are in the
that
military.
the
Once they get
generational
out,
differences and the way we were brought up and what we were taught that got lost in a generation. And so, how do we, my question is, how do we rebuild those same values so that we can learn to be loving and honorable and respectful, of one another? How can we give and how can we take to make our relationships for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, and sickness and health, till death do us part?
Sometimes, cousin, sometimes we as women, we think we could rebuild a man, and vice versa. A man think he could make a woman to be something, or create her thinking when he got her, he got to train her this way or train. No, I think if we just let we come together to really learn one another, help one another. That's why it's called help me. You know what I mean? God used us
right?
to help them. And then there's a lot of men be so pride and puffed up, rebellious, stubbornness. They don't want to listen. They don't want nobody to help them. And then when they fall on their head or bump their head, they come back to their wife. Man, I should have listened to you. It was just that easy. We don't,
Well, a lot
none
of
of
it
us
has to
don't
do
like to
with
listen.
how certain people are raised in their household. Because you got guys who are accustomed to seeing their mother do everything. I'm so glad my mother made us make up the bed. I'm so glad she made us have a week of doing the dishes, and because all of that stuff has translated into my life where it is now, and
Yeah,
because of that, I'm grateful, and like I said, it's nothing for me to do it. I love doing it, and
yeah.
it's my place, and I like a nice place. It's just that simple. Okay, you guys, what we're going to do is wrap it up here in just a couple of minutes, but we're going to go back and, for those of you who just joined us, I'm going to let you see once again the books. Cousin Carrie, this is her book. Carrie, where's your book available?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, ebook, and Walmart's.
Okay, from a hustler's woman to the pastor's wife, Carrie A.
Wow.
Williams. That is her book where she's telling you her testimony, her life of how she went from dating hustlers to dating a divine man.
All right.
So that's a beautiful thing. And then, of course, the book about cousin Robert Jordan, or Robert Jordan, from suspenders to stethoscope. He was a tremendous pediatrician there in the city of Chicago for many years before Alzheimer's ended up affecting his life. But cousin Jeanette, tell us where this book is available.
Well, you can get this book from thehotreads.com, thehotreads.com. And it's an awesome, awesome story of our love life and of Dr. Jordan's professional life. He was the first African American chief resident at Rush Presbyterian St. Luke Hospital in
I
1981. So he has made a history. Also, before we go, I want to let you know that ABC7 came out and they interviewed me and my girls and on my caregiving, because I now advocate for caregivers who are caring for their loved ones. So the special on ABC7 will be February the 25th and 26th. I don't know the time yet, but I
Okay,
will
so
be
that's in the Chicago area. So those of you who live in Chicagoland, um, be on the lookout. So when you do see it on ABC7, that's your kinfolk.
there. You go. There
I
you go.
And
and
of
they
course,
I
also
also want to say that I do a caregiver support group for
wonderful.
families, men and women who are caring for their loved ones, particularly with dementia. And that's every fourth Saturday. We do a caregiver support group. It was really supposed to be for Chicago. It's virtual. So
Okay.
we're getting people from around the globe that hop onto our caregiver support group every fourth Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you follow my Facebook, you'll always see it posted there. We always announce it there.
Okay, wonderful. And then also, Drew, what days is her show on? The Real
Well, it's
Housewives of
not
Atlanta.
airing yet. It's not airing yet.
Oh,
They
the new
just
season hasn't started
the
yet.
new
Okay.
season has not started yet. So you can follow her on Drew Sidora on Facebook, or Drew Sidora on Instagram, and you'll follow
Okay.
me, and I'll let you know when it airs.
and
Okay.
cousin, I am got a little debut, just a little snippet on a show called Seasoned on Tubi.
Okay.
Seasoned.
Seasoned.
And
Okay.
they use my beauty salon to feature also in a show.
How
Awesome.
excellent.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for us. Let me see if there's any more questions before we bounce out of here. And the people have loved it. And thank you so much for everybody who stayed the whole course. Happy Valentine Day to each and
Thank
every
you.
one of you, especially
You.
those who are in relationships and everything. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful time. And also, I hope that this show inspires you to love one another even greater, because no man knows the day nor the hour. And don't wait until your significant other or your child is a hashtag.
That's right.
I still buy my daughter flowers from the day she got her first Valentine up until this one. She's never missed getting flowers from her daddy. And as I told her, I'm not waiting for a hashtag. I love my daughter. And for those of you who have children and loved ones, love one another again, because we don't want it to be said too late, and then people, once they, something happens and all of that stuff, then you know, it's you know, you're grief stricken and you regret that you didn't say this or say that, or in the case like you, cousin Jeanette, where you may not be, it may not be death, but it could be dementia.
Yes.
Now is the time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So final thoughts from you, cousin Jeanette.
What did
Final
you ask?
thoughts. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts. The final thought for me, for our family who's on this platform, is to love hard and love long and love deep and love because God loves us. And the greatest commandment of all is love. And so I just thank Eric. I thank you for this platform.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you for bringing your family together. These roots are deep. And what we're doing now is fertilizing them so that they spread throughout the Jordan, Bender, Johnson, all of that. And I thank you.
And someone just asked your handle on Facebook, but if you just look up Jeanette Bass Jordan, you'll find
Pastor,
her.
it's Pastor Jeanette
Yeah,
Bass Jordan.
Pastor Jeanette Bass Jordan. In fact, speaking of that, you're still pastoring your church.
I'm still pastoring Journey to the Cross Ministries, but we've changed our worship. We're doing a virtual worship
Okay.
for those who can't get to the brick and mortar. Everybody can't get to the brick and the mortar. God has made all of this technology so that we can worship near and far, and even from the comfort of our own homes.
That's one of the
Caregivers
best
can't.
advantages. One of the best things that happened during the pandemic is stuff like this.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we did. We had Zoom worship all of 2020 and the majority of 2021. So, as my co pastor and the pastor at the church where we were worshiping retired, I retired my church's partnership with them, but God spoke to me and said, "You retired that, but get on the bus. I have another assignment." And that assignment is to bring worship to those that can't get to the brick and mortar. And so every first Sunday right now, we hold a worship, a virtual worship, Journey to the Cross ministry.
And as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about your sister. When I stayed at your house, your sister, she was like 90 something years old.
Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
remember her sitting there with the remote. She loved watching sports. I thought that was so cool.
Yes, yeah. Oh, she was a sports fanatic. Yes,
What's
she
her
was.
name?
Helen.
Helen.
We called her TT.
TT, that's it.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
how old was she?
She was 92.
92.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that just cracked me up because I was sitting in the room with her, and that just cracked me up sitting her with the remote, going, watching ESPN and
Yes, yes.
baseball. And
She
so
was
I pray that that I can get to that age and still be that interested in sports and other things as well.
oh, you will. You will.
Carrie, final thoughts.
Yes, I would like to tell my brothers and sisters and friends and family that's out there listening, if we could always remember to always put God first, because God is definitely love. And if we could focus not so much on the situation, but the problem solver, knowing that nothing is too hard for God. No man, no woman, no sickness, no disease, nothing is too hard for God. Just if we truly take it to God in prayer, everything else become easy.
Awesome. Also, give a shout out to my cousin Jesse Bolden, who just texted me, loved the presentation, and he and his wife Leora, you saw them in the presentation, 41 years of marriage. In fact,
Wow.
I was in their wedding, that and my brother's wedding. Of all the those are the only two weddings that I've ever been in. So that was my brother and his wife, ironically, celebrate their wedding anniversary in Albuquerque on tomorrow. They got married on February 14th, 1987.
Okay.
And so I was in that one, and I was in cousin Jesse's. I was about 17 when I was in his. That was before I left and joined the Navy. Okay, family, that's going to do it for us on this evening. And I may do another show next week. It depends. And then, of course, for those of you who joined us last week and we talked about the Jordan family reunion, this is a reminder. It's going to be coming up. The National Jordan Family Reunion is going to be in the country there in Rose Hill at the Taylor Jordan Family Park. and it's going to be July 25th through the 27th in 2025. And my man Stretch, our cousin in Las Vegas, my niece Leslie had a chance to meet him this past Sunday. And so, but he is again obsessed with this thing called genealogy. And so, mark your calendars in a couple of years. And of course, there's a reunion coming up in DC on the Johnson Jordan side. And my cousin Pig and Barbara Ann in Chicago, in Atlanta, Irma, myself. It's a delegation of us that are planning to go there and meet our new kin. So that's going to be exciting. And again, the national reunion for us is going to take place in 2025. So you have plenty of time to prepare for that particular time. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun, I believe.
And I tell you, I love me some Pachuta. I spent a lot of time there over these 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
Taking my kids there. That was our vacation spot.
Nice.
Yes.
And we have a lot of family, the land and all of that stuff. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, you guys stick around backstage. But what we're going to do is I'm going to end with a music video, and I'm going to dedicate this to all of the lovers in the viewing audience.
Yes.
It is a song called "So Amazing," and it is a song that I thank you, Celeste Jefferson, my friend down in Houston, Texas. She and her beautiful daughters. You saw her and her husband in the video presentation as well. So thank you, Celeste and Ashley and Hazel and Arena and your husbands, if they watched as well. We appreciate you. And my niece Tuesday and Leslie. So I'm name dropping with some of the others there. Thank you to everybody. I hope my cousin Sammy Lee and his wife Sharon watched as well. And as we just celebrate couples and celebrate life, we celebrate love. What I want to do is show you a music video. I'll come back after the video. We'll come back after it and say goodnight. But this is a music video, and I'm dedicating this to all of those in the listening and the viewing audience. It's a video that I directed back in October with a dear friend who is a harpist, and I hope that it blesses you.
Girl, sometimes I get so tired of men. All the drama.
Child, me too. That's why I'm all by myself. How about you, Maria?
Actually, I find in the right situation, with the right person, love can be so amazing. Let's toast to love.
Yeah, let's toast to love.
To love.
Okay.
That was awesome.
That was beautiful.
Awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well, wonderful. That is my friend Maria Antoinette. She actually played in my wedding years ago, but nevertheless, for those who are not familiar or see, it's not every day that you see a black harpist.
Right. That's what is awesome.
Yeah,
And she was beautiful.
and then also I did a video with her of her doing boogie nights. So you should look
Okay.
her up. We did a video with her doing boogie nights in 2016. It was at one of my concerts, and it ended up getting, last time I checked, it had 275,000 views.
Oh, wow.
It went viral that night because it hit like 5,000, then 10,000, then 20,000, and 50 like overnight. And it was places, cousins, where I couldn't pronounce it or even knew where they were, where people were watching from, because I would tap on some people's, their profile on Facebook, and they were from places all over, like I said, that I never heard of, couldn't even spell, including places like Russia and Tajikistan and some interesting places like that. But she's a world-class harpist, and I, directed that video back in, it was in September, just before I came to the family reunion, actually.
Wow, that was
She's from
absolutely
California?
beautiful.
Yeah, she's from San Diego.
Okay.
She's based in San Diego.
Awesome.
And
I
so
love a harpist, and I even had a African American harpist at one of my girls' weddings. They was the harpist there. Beautiful, beautiful music.
absolutely. And what she's done, just like, with our people, if we ever get an opportunity, we always take it to the next level.
Hey,
That's what we do. And that's why, unfortunately, so many people want to keep us out of certain areas, whether it be sports or entertainment or, whatever the case. But whenever we get a chance, we operate in excellence. And that's what I try to do. And I hope that those who are in the viewing audience will do the same also. And then also, finally, you guys saw a slide of my book at the end of the couple's presentation called Honey, I Want to Know You. That's going to be coming out shortly. It should have been out by now, but it's not. I did one called Mama, I Want to Know You, Daddy, I Want to Know You. In fact, these are the books. I actually ended up interviewing my mother using words from this book, Mama, I Want to Know You. And then this one here is Daddy, I Want to Know You. And that's my daughter when she was only 4 years old. And so I'm also doing a series. I mean, it's a whole series. Mama, Daddy, Honey, I Want to Know You is a couples book where you can ask each other questions to get to know each other on a deeper level, well beyond just the regular surface questions.
That's the book that whoever asked that question is how do we start to talk to one another? That's the book that you need to bless them with.
Yes.
You're right, because it's got questions in there beginning with who you are, where you're from, but it also asks such questions as, what makes you feel loved?
Yes.
What makes you feel happy? How can I, what can I do to make this relationship better?
Yes.
Certain questions like that. And so, so that's what the whole idea of it is to be able to help couples all over the world. And again, I'm the publisher of both of these books and all of my books, Who Dat Publishing House. And so, and if you want more information, you can go to my website, ericjchambers.com. And that's where you can get the details to order the books. And I'm prayerful that, that it will bless you. And yes, cousin said, I need that. Yes. And so, but to go to ericjchambers.com. And then also, if you don't go to that, I'm going to put it on the screen just right now before we get out of here. It's Who Dat Publishing House.com. And I guess as you guys see here, I am the host, director, all of it. But there it is at the bottom of the screen, whodatpublishinghouse.com. If you go there, you can order both of the current books that are out, and then Honey, I Want to Know You. And then also, in fact, both of you wrote narratives about your husbands in the book. I almost forgot about that.
You can't leave them out, Eric.
You're right. Because what I did is I created what they call an anthology of love. And so I have in each of these, I have people who wrote an anthology of motherly love, an anthology of fatherly love, and like in this one, my friend Don Lewis from A Different World and television fame. In this one, Reverend Jesse Jackson's son, Jesse Jackson Jr., my friend out of Chicago. You know, they're in there, and various other people. Nettie from The Color Purple. They wrote, homages to their mothers or fathers, and but nevertheless, I used it to interview my own mother, Gogo, when I was home in September, and I'm going to be turning that into a documentary that's going to come out before Mother's Day as a companion to this to inspire people.
Wow.
Now is the time, and again, one of the reasons why now is the time for you to do it, as I mentioned in the one of the spots that I have, don't wait for death or time, death or dementia to rob you of asking those questions. And so I was able to ask my mother certain questions, and I'm going to put it together, and so that she can get a kick out of it. And she remembered a lot more than she thought she would.
Yes.
That's good.
So, okay, family.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Eric J, cousin Jeanette, and
Thank you.
cousin Carrie, they're in Chicago. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this, and stay connected with us, and we will let you know if I'm going to be doing one next week. And in the meantime, you could always check out my Jaspel radio show. It airs every Sunday, KIFM.com, beginning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And cousin Nikki asked the name of it. It's called Honey, I Want to Know You. Mama, I Want to Know You, and Daddy, I Want to Know You. Those are the books. Again, if you go to ericjchambers.com, it'll show you a link there that you can click to be able to find all the things that I'm doing. And one last thing, the documentary that you guys saw with the couple married 74 years, on the 27th of this month in Pasadena, I have rented a theater, and I'm going to show a best of my documentaries there on the big screen.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
And so that's going to be one of them. And then also the it's to help raise money so that I can get the like music rights for the documentary I'm doing on Mrs. Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother, who was my surrogate grandmother. So I want to use stuff like Sam Cooke's Long Time Coming, but a change is going to come. Some what's her name? Mahalia Jackson, stuff like that.
Wow.
So it costs money to do that. And so that's what we're doing, is doing that as a fundraiser, and people are excited about it. And I've got multiple documentaries. I've lost count on how many I've done, but we're going to do a 2-hour presentation. Some of them as little as like maybe 2 minutes or 4 minutes, like the piece you saw. And then the longest is about 30, and another one is 35 minutes. So that is going to be on the 27th of this month in the city of Pasadena. So if you're local, we're going to be at the Regency Academy Regency Theater there. And that is at ericjchambers.com as well. Okay, family. Once again, thank you guys for being a part of today's presentation. And I hope those who were in the listening audience and the viewing audience were blessed by this presentation as well. And we're going to get out of here, and preferably we'll see you guys again real soon. Bye.
God bless. God bless. I love you.